Hey guys, in today's episode we're talking about sales and why you need to get comfortable with it because confidence in sales is everything. Also, be sure to comment below on any of the products or topics you guys want us to talk about.
He runs a YouTube channel about selling sneakers because that's his whole he sell that's everything for him. He finds sneakers that are in crappy condition, he restores them and sells them,
So
and then
he flips sneakers.
yeah, he's a
Interesting.
sneakerhead.
Sneakerhead that flips sneakers.
Yes,
There was
There
a
it
kid
is.
that
Sneaker
did that
flipper.
for a
So I
while.
actually
It
need
was
to-
Jordans.
Yeah.
He did that. He does it for major basketball players, and they only buy from it's when I watched him, he was 15 years old. I'm pretty sure he's in his 20s now.
Yeah.
But I mean, $30,000 Jordans.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
they go for high price tag.
that's
Yeah.
all this kid does.
It's a whole industry on
Yeah,
its
it's a
own.
whole industry on its own. Yeah.
It's wild.
Welcome to the Think Fresh, Move Forward podcast. Today's topic is sales.
Yes.
All things sales.
Sales is what brings us together today.
Sales is what brings us.
Sales is the reason why we are here today in general, because without it we wouldn't be in business.
Yeah, and
Unfortunately, because sales is my least favorite thing
yeah,
about
a lot of
business.
people hate it, right? A lot of people hate sales,
I
are
just-
scared of sales, afraid of it.
I
right?
don't think it's unrealistic for me to just expect everyone to just come to me put forth no effort into presenting myself,
And
and
just
for them
buy
to
what
just
you offer.
just recognize automatically how valuable I am, and give me money for that value.
Well, the reason
The
why
creative's dream right there.
the reason why most businesses fail is because obviously it's a lack of funding or money, but the way you solve that problem is with sales.
Revenue.
Yeah.
It's-
Bringing in revenue.
Because you could be one transaction away from failure or from, staying in business.
Yeah.
So when people are like, oh, we just don't have enough money, you just have to know how to get out and get more revenue.
Yep.
And you do that by sales.
Yeah.
And it's the one thing people hate doing is
Gotta just
giving
do it.
sales present. What's it? It's almost like an aspect of public speaking. What's the two things most people are afraid of in life? It's death or public speaking and death. People would rather die than do public speaking, and that's almost essentially what sales is.
See, I can publicly speak, but I don't want to I don't want the confrontation. That's what I don't want. I don't want to confront you and make you make a decision.
And so let's talk about that for
Ooh.
a second, right? Because I think most people view sales as a confrontation, but in my mind, sales is consultative. It's not a confrontational thing. right?
Interesting.
Depending on what side you're on.
Well, so think about it, right? It depends on sure. I mean, if you're in direct sales, it's slightly different than if you're in B2B sales. Than
No,
if
I mean
you're in
sellee
B2C
or
sales.
seller.
Yeah. So the other person feeling it as a confrontation,
Yeah.
right? But see, that's where I think you failed. I think if the other person feels it's a confrontation, then that means you're not succeeding as a salesperson.
You also
yeah,
have
true,
to
yeah.
be sold on that product or service yourself, or at least lie as much of yourself as possible so you can sell that product, even if you don't believe in it.
Yeah.
See, that's where I really struggle, because if I know that what I'm doing is going to benefit that person more, if it's going to benefit them more than it's going to cost them, then I'm all in, and
Sure.
I'm I can sell it. I'm just gonna be look, this is gonna be better for you than what you're spending.
Well, that changes
but
your
I'm
mentality
here to
too.
benefit you.
But it's also
Yeah.
the way you present it. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and there has to be a level of confidence with it. So for example, and this is where being sold on the product or service does somewhat play into it. So let's say you have a $10,000 product and you're pitching it to someone, and you come at it from where you're not sold on it and you're just more not confident about the pitch, and you're like, it's gonna be $10,000 versus
Yeah, that's me.
versus it's $10,000. Just
Yeah.
straight up, confidence, looking them straight in the eye when you tell them that price.
Or only $10,000.
It's only $10,000. So what is if the first way I said it to you is it's $10,000, there's a very high likely chance that person is not going to buy that product because you're
that is-
not sold on it. Therefore, I'm not going to buy it either.
It's uncomfortable to me how exactly like that I
Right.
tell people what the price is.
It's just a mindset. So if you change that frame of mind to where you're more confident on that, and that just comes with time and actually doing it in your sales pitches. Like when I first started in sales selling overpriced knives, and I was like, yeah, it's $1,000. Like, because as a teenager, someone spending $1,000 on a set of knives seemed crazy to me because it's just obviously what you put value in. But nowadays, it's like $1,000 on something like that.
Drop in a bucket.
Yeah, it could be a drop in a bucket for someone. But if you're not confident in it, they're not going to be confident in it either.
Well, and so think about it this way, right? Because on a previous podcast, you talked about how you were pitching everyone your real estate photography, even when you were still working at Starbucks, right? And people would come in and you talk about it, right?
Yeah, I was just talking about it.
Yeah.
I couldn't help it.
But you were selling, right? And,
I guess,
and
yeah.
see, in that moment, you were making a sale, and you didn't view it that way, and you didn't build it up in your mind as this big thing. But you were like promoting what you had to offer, right? That's a type of sales right there, and you were convinced in it. You had conviction, even though it was like unfounded conviction.
It was
'cause
unfounded conviction.
You didn't know what you were doing. Yet,
Didn't know what I was doing, but like really about it though.
Yeah. But you believed, right? And when you believe,
as you do more pitches and then you start closing people, that dollar amount for me, it becomes more. I don't get afraid asking. Yeah, it's $10,000. Yeah, this is going to be $100,000 over the course of the period of the project. 150. I remember when I first pitched my largest transaction ever, and it was a $40,000 order with this one real estate agent. That's like essentially a BMW as far as what he was buying.
Yeah.
And when he asked the price, I was like, yeah, it's going to be $35,000. In my head, I'm like, oh my fuck, this is $35,000. And I'm like freaking out in my head, hoping he says yes. He's like, all right, if you could do it for 32, we'll do it. I'm like, okay. And he signed the line, gave a credit card, paid in full. I was like, fuck yeah.
So all right, so I guess you had some autonomy in like your price then.
Yeah. A little bit, because but again, I was pushing forth that confidence as much as I could, keeping a straight face and not going like, oh shit, I hope he says yes. Hope this is not too much, because I'm just doing the numbers and it's the price what it is, and he wants 200 of these items.
It is what it is.
So it's like, if he's asking, this guy already knew an idea what the price range was. I gave him some items. But the problem is I didn't want to give too much away for free where I'm cutting to my commission, where I'm not making money. So I'm literally just giving him the order. But again, at the end of the day, it came with the confidence. I'm like, yeah, it's going to be 32.5.
So that confidence, like, okay, so let me ask you, do you find that it's just like a self-psyching thing? Like, do you find that it's like
first
the
time,
price?
yes, it was forced confidence. This is
right.
Because I knew that.
So it's a muscle you're working out.
Because I've done
False
it multiple.
motivation's better than no motivation.
Right.
Kind of the same concept.
I've done it multiple times, and I've learned in the difference in my approach where if you're not confident, you're not going to get the sale. So I forced it, and I got it, and then later on, I became way more confident in my higher price pitched items.
Yeah, let's take a step back, though, right? Because everything we're talking about right now is important, but this is like the end of the line, right? You're not presenting a price in most cases right up front to a client.
Yeah,
right?
that's a good.
There's a lot of things that have happened to lead to that point, right? So what have you done to that point? You've built value. Right, and the way you build value depends on your product or your service, right? So it's like you've given them reasons why this even makes sense, right?
Yeah,
that value.
You've shown them the work before you've. Okay.
Well,
okay.
yeah,
Quality.
Because you have to explain to them, hey, you know, there's more value than the price you're paying, right?
Yeah.
That's the value exchange, right?
Yeah. As a creative, I would like to just for them to see the product and be like, it's worth it.
Yeah. And
I don't think it works like that though.
Well, so some of that comes from having the right value conversation to start. The other thing is, and I think this is where most people need to flip the switch, is before you share your price tag for whatever you're offering, it is 120% okay to say things like, hey, we're more expensive than other people, right? Our services or our product isn't the cheapest out there.
Manage that expectation up front.
Right? Yep. You could find this for cheaper online, or you could find this for cheaper in other places. But
here's what we're going to do.
Right? And then presenting a value proposition, right? So it's like, hey, you can find it for cheaper, but you're going to get a cookie cutter result.
For example.
Or you could find it for cheaper, but it's not going to be quality.
This literally happened 2 days ago with a prospect that came in. Who was looking for a brand it came up in the conversation. He wasn't even looking for a brand redesign, and we sold him on it because he brought up his logos, and he showed an image of the 4 concepts he has. I'm like, you got that off Fiverr, didn't you? And he's like, yeah. And I was like, yeah, person you paid $5, $20, $25, whatever it is, in Uzbekistan or Thailand or wherever it is you got this from, doesn't know anything about your brand. You just gave him name, and he has a bunch of templates, and he spits out something done in 5 minutes.
Just so you know, that designer owns that logo.
So there's
Oh,
that.
that's interesting too. Yeah.
I didn't even say that to him, but
yeah.
from a copyright standpoint. But explain to him is like, yeah, you get what you pay for, and you're trying here to build this social media platform, trying to attract all these people, and your logo doesn't speak anything to what it actually is, and it's actually somewhat confusing. Looks more like a real estate logo than anything than it does an actual social media app logo. And then we sold them on a $2,500 brand package where we rebrand everything, icons, so everything's consistency.
And to his credit, he saw the value because he's building something that he's passionate about, right? And if you're going to build something you're passionate about, you should then have the best assets,
not be cheap,
to present the clientele that you want to impress, right?
Right.
So we happen to be in that business, right? We happen to be in the business of, you want to be able, as a business owner, to present the best version of yourself to a client, right? But if you don't sell a service, right, you sell something else, then you have to think about what is the value proposition that people are getting if it's a physical product, right? Later in this episode, we're going to watch Shark Tank, and they're much more, hey, this is the product, and it's very simple.
It's their
These are the
pitch.
features, right? Product and features of the product, features and benefits.
And I'm the guy behind it.
Here's the price, right?
Yeah.
But other more service-oriented or B2B businesses, like the business you're in, Cody, being that it's IT, and being that it's risk management and concern over, like, hey, things that could go wrong, there is some degree of scaring a client, right? Because
of
it's
course.
like, I mean, they have to realize
Fear.
these are risks out here that you don't even know exist.
Yeah,
that are
fear
putting you at
is a
risk.
great motivator
Yeah,
when it's done in the right way.
And so let me ask you this. Let's say that there is an industry standard as far as prices go. Okay? So let's say that you're in some sort of business where prices are pretty much on, there's some variation, but then sometimes you'll see like outliers that are charging
much higher,
quadruple, 5 times as much for something similar. And I have to feel like that's sales. Like
It's also who you know.
It's who you know. It's the business owner not doing their due diligence on seeing what the competition offers. And then also, if it's more of a local thing, is there anyone else locally that's doing it? So if you're the only one that's doing it, and you need this local service, then technically you can charge what the hell you want. So,
so I would also say this, right? I would say,
how do you go from?
I would say this. I would say, to answer your question, what extra value are they bringing to the table, right? Are they just charging more to charge more, which some people do? That is a pricing strategy. You could say, I want to be the most expensive in a market, because people will have a perceived value in the fact that you're the most expensive, right? There are some people and organizations that do that.
Well, that's just a commonplace. You spend more, you get better quality.
Yeah, and
so there's that conception that people are banking on.
That's capitalizing on that, right? And that may or may not be true, right? But I'd also think about, what value are they providing that's over and beyond what you can get with the other commoditized options, right? So 2 things come to mind. Number one, certain industries are just purely commoditized, and there's nothing you're going to do about it, right?
Yeah.
Milk is what it is. The different supermarkets don't really want to promote the heck out of milk or bread or staple products. Why? Because the margins are what they are, and everybody's pretty much charging the same thing.
Yeah.
But what they want to promote is like
milk.
value added. No, milk. Oh, yeah. Value added.
How do you milk on oat?
Value added products. What are examples of value added products in grocery stores? Made to order, right? Pre-made foods, right? That are up at that like deli area. All of that is value added. Why? They took all these different things, added stuff to it, and what can they do? They charge more. Right? So that's a value added product. So for a website, just we go back to Fresh Move, because that's what we lean on a lot for pricing and sales.
This podcast is sponsored by Fresh Food Media.
Also, Lux Metal Cards.
Cards.
Lux Metal Cards. So one of the things that we look at is, when we sell a website, sure, you could go online and you could hire somebody in California to build a website for you, right? And they might do a pretty solid job building a framework of a site, right? But what are they going to say to you? They're going to say, you send us the copy, you send us the imagery you want on there, right? You send us your logo, we'll get stock imagery, and this will be your result, right? And from our perspective, it's like, yeah, they're going to be cheaper than us, but what are we going to do that's different? we're going to come out, this guy is going to come out and shoot some photography for you. So you're going to get high quality, awesome imagery to put on your website
Of your own people.
that's homegrown and it actually fits you and who your people are.
Also,
we're going to write your
goal
copy.
oriented. It's
Yeah.
goal oriented.
We're going to learn about your business. We're going to understand your range of services, and then we're going to build and craft copy to fit that, right? So all
based
of
on
that,
demographics. Yeah, that's
but
extremely
all of that's
valuable.
value.
It
right?
all
it's
falls
the same
back.
product.
It
but-
all falls back onto sales though, because if you are the business owner, you're not good at sales, and
You're not presenting that.
you're not presenting the copy in a sales aspect or format out of
Mhm.
way. When we come and do a website, the whole point of a website is a sales funnel. Is
Mm.
we write the copy, we design it in the way to get the person into the funnel, down to the contact form, or add to cart or buy.
Yeah.
And the problem is most business owners don't understand that, and when they go to these cookie cutter website designers or website builders, they don't build it in that format. Therefore, it never works, and they don't get the value
Well,
that they really need.
And what Ryan's presenting right there is like part of the pitch,
Yeah, it's
right?
part of
like,
the pitch.
like so he's just going into his sales pitch, right
Right.
there. But as a, like, let's say you're a creative and you're not a salesperson,
Mhm.
you have to think about it in a way that's like, hey, I have something really great to offer people, and I want these people to be able to see what I have to offer. And that's through your pitch and presenting what you're offering.
That, but also the way you deliver the product. That's where you could make yourself different from all these other real estate photographers. Is how is the package delivered to the end client? And of course, communication is a big thing. Like with real estate agents, it's all about communication, being fast, responsive. So if you had like an admin that did all that and it was responsive like that to a T, agents would promote you all the time. Versus a photographer that takes 24 to 40 hours, if not 3 days, to get back to them. They're going to want someone that's responsive, because real estate's all, when it comes to the real estate agent selling a house, it's all me
Yeah.
first. Whoever can fill my needs first as fast as possible is who I'm going to continue to use, because that's just that mentality in that market, which I don't agree with, but that's just that space.
Yeah.
So if you can improve,
Well, there's a lot of dollars on time.
correct.
in that
Yeah.
space.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's, but if you could fulfill that aspect and then have the product done, so like when it comes to sales, it's always there's a term for it, but think of it as a triangle. So you have price, quality, and speed. It is impossible to get all three. It is literally impossible. If someone promotes that, you know it's a scam, it's a Ponzi scheme, whatever. That product does not exist. You can only do 2 out of 3. So you can have price and quality, but speed is going to not be there. But if you want quality and speed, it's great, but it's going to be very expensive.
Yes.
So,
Yep.
and it's, you can only have 2 of the 3. So it's just how do you want to, be yourself? For us, it's more on quality. And what would you say that it's
I would say price wise, we are lower than a lot of like the
big name
bespoke agencies in
Right.
our space, but we take time, right? I
Right.
mean, it takes time. It's not something that we're going to pump out like next week, right? So most of the projects we do take months to accomplish.
Yeah,
it,
so
right?
it's quality and price, but therefore time is longer.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it just all comes down to how you want to operate your business.
Mhm.
But most of these web design agencies focus on price and speed, and the quality is dog shit.
Yeah.
So,
Templates
and that's the
pump it out.
vast majority of services out there is price and speed, quick, because everyone's
Because it's
it's-
financially. I mean, it's
it's
those decisions
it's the
make money.
instant gratification type philosophy that
Well,
people want.
And they also, people in that space are doing economies of scale, right? So the agencies that are doing that are across all markets across the country, and so they have economies of scale. They just know that if they can sell more, right, they're going to make their margins, and they might be slimmer margins, but they're going to hire salespeople to just go after it in all these different areas, right? And most people that are probably listening to this podcast are not professional salespeople, right? They're a business owner, or they're somebody that has to do sales because they own a business, or they're in a business, or they have something to offer.
Mhm.
They're a creative, or they're a technical person, and they have something to offer the world, but it's about how do you communicate that to people. And so if that's the case, then it should be more about, can I just present the belief and value in my product? And that means I'm probably going to be more expensive. Like, you're not going to be the cheapest option out there, and you have to be okay with that,
Yeah.
because that's your only chance to survive.
And then on
right?
the opposite end, you have there are large agencies that have become successful, but they don't have a ton of clients. They have like a few large clients that are paying them X thousands, 100,000, if not millions of dollars.
Yep.
and they're focused on actually delivering results. So usually the bigger the company gets as far as in volume, they don't tend to go for those agencies that are quick stuff, just because they're cheap, because they want the quality, they want the results, because they've known that if it's fast and cheap, it usually produces not the results that you want.
Yeah.
It can, depending on what it is, but usually it's not a long-term solution. Because if it was all quick and fast, everyone would be doing it, and that's just not the case.
And don't forget about the relationship and partnerships they develop too as well.
So, like, for example, let's use the Martin Agency, one of the largest ad agencies on the East Coast, one in the United States. When they do a commercial for Walmart, they're not paying them, $1,000 or $10,000 to do a video. They're paying that Martin Agency probably millions of dollars to produce the video, the concept, the idea, and then it's probably like a 6-month time frame as far as, if not 12 months, deliverables. So, again, it's usually what usually makes sense, and in my opinion, a proper way to build is with quality and price versus speed. And again, it just depends on the service and industry that you're in. But
yeah. And I think going back to the original point with this, why are people scared of sales, business owners or, a creative or somebody who's in a profession where they're kind of forced into it? And I think to your point, Cody, confrontation, the belief that I'm going to I'm confronting this person, I'm putting them to the fire to decide, right, on something. And the reality is, it doesn't have to be that way, right?
But
there's
I love
a degree.
Confrontation.
But see, there's a degree of
it.
my approach to sales has always been, no matter what I was selling, a consultative approach, meaning it's asking questions about what they need, finding out their challenges and their problems, and all you're doing is offering solutions, right? So what is the challenge that this real estate agent is experiencing, right? I need to better impress people with my listings, right? What's the solution to that? Better quality photos, right, is one of the solutions to that. So that's just a very simple element to this, but it's so true that you're really just presenting a solution. And if you're presenting a solution, then when you're asking for the sale, you're no longer asking to confront them. You're asking, hey, I've presented this option to you. Do you want to go ahead and give it a try?
Yep.
And now it's much less like, oh my gosh, it's intimidating. It's really not that intimidating when you get to that point. But how much work went into that? You're not just throwing the price tag out saying, do you want it, right? You're building value. You're talking about all the things you're getting.
It's expensive.
You're asking questions.
Yeah.
You're saying, but you're planting seeds for how expensive it is, right? Yeah. Hey, just so you know, start off this conversation. I'm not the cheapest guy out there. There's other people that charge less.
I will say though that if it's a client that I don't want to work with, but I don't want to be a dick and say no.
Sometimes you show the price at the beginning, right?
But I will present the price in the way that you would not want to present the price. It's expensive, because it's also when you sometimes when you're growing a business, you don't want to be with those time wasters, and someone's just literally wasting your time. I do that all the time on Lux Metal Card.
The bagel guy.
So for example, people reach out to us to want to do NFC chips in the cards, but those people are always looking to buy just one card because they want to do the whole tap your the metal card on the phone and it preloads your information. That's by far one of the worst ideas for a business card because your phone number just get lost into the phone, so it's pointless in my opinion. But anyways, I'm not looking to do your one-off card. So when someone reaches out, hey, can you do NFC chips? I'm like, yes, but it's very expensive. And then a lot of times, okay, I was like, what do you want? How many did you want? And I would say 9 times out of 10, they just want one card. And I say my whole
single card.
Well, and see what he's doing there. What he's doing there is he's qualifying the lead, right? So he's not wasting his time doing an entire pitch to somebody that's really unqualified, right? And so that's really one of the introductory phases. And listen, we could have a whole podcast just talking about
leads.
The funnel, the sales funnel, and how you get people to where down the buyer's journey ultimately to them buying. But what he's doing there is he's qualifying them up front. And I think you should have enough confidence in your product or service to know who it's good for, but also who it's not good for. And we say this all the time to new business owners that want to start a business and they're bootstrapping it and they don't have any sales revenue yet and they're just trying to get something off the ground. And a lot of times we're like, hey, we might be too expensive for you right now, and that's okay. And you might need to go to Wix and just create something yourself and have something for a year or two, and then when you're more well established and you feel confident, you can come back to us and we can be that option for you down the road.
Unless it's a funded startup, then yes, I want to
Yeah,
work with them.
yeah, but many times somebody's starting a business, like they're
Right.
just trying to get a business card online because they need to exist, right?
Right.
Cool. Then go to Wix or Squarespace, right? I mean, so there's just a degree of like you got to have confidence and belief in what you're offering and know who it's good for and who it's not good for, and you don't want to waste time.
Yeah,
with it.
because that one bad client can actually cost you more money than what's actually bringing it
Yeah,
in.
that's true.
Because
I think it.
there's sorry to cut you off. There's always that one client that you can never satisfy, no matter what you do. You could literally save the planet, save their child from falling off the
Still your
cliff.
fault.
It's still your fault.
Yeah,
You're still a POS or whatever,
Yeah.
no matter what you do. So that's at the end of the day, from a sales standpoint, that is my opinion. Like I said, part of the sales process to weed that person out because that is protecting you and as far as your income, also your reputation in the space, especially in a space where everyone likes to talk, especially with
Yep.
real estate agents. They
Yep.
love to talk.
Yep.
You know, so
So, how do you transition from low to higher price?
Are you saying like over time, how do you increase your price, or are you saying
How do you let's say you well, I mean
Like,
real
within
estate
one pitch?
photography is pretty is kind of commoditized.
Yeah.
Not totally, but like
Yeah.
it's kind of commoditized because there's a lot of them doing it, and there's
sure?
and realtors have a set amount in their head that real estate photos cost. And so I guess the question is like if and I'm not necessarily looking to do this, but like
If you were looking to raise
if I
your
was
rates,
if I wanted to like
sure.
start charging a lot more,
Yeah.
how in your experience, how have you transitioned
So
that?
so the easiest way to do that, always the easiest way, is to present a new price to a new client because it's a new audience, right? So getting your current clients to pay more
that's hard.
is the hardest thing out there, right? It's
Yeah.
why Netflix, like, you know, they increase their price by a couple dollars and they know there's going to be like people scurrying
Well, now
off
they
the
have
ship,
the
right?
ads. They have the free tier.
So they did that, right? Because they're now trying to think about, hey, what's a drop down that we can essentially offer people?
Netflix?
Netflix is doing free tier
Ads.
with
Yeah.
ads.
Yeah.
They just
Ooh.
released
Because
that.
they're trying to capitalize on, hey, we would lose people with a higher price
Well,
tag, but
there's that, but then also the next one up is, do you want to go from 720 to 1080? That's a different level too.
oh,
Yeah.
that's frustrating.
so
yeah,
s-
now you're
it's
talking
so
about quality.
And
Yeah,
then they're getting
anyways.
rid of the ability to have multiple users on a different account.
Yeah. So my
yeah,
first
Netflix
answer
a lot
for
of
you would be that comes from new client acquisition and increasing it for new clients, right? Because that's what you have to do, right? You have to increase your price over time and because things get more
Inflation.
expensive and yeah, inflation happens, but it's significantly easier to present that to a new client because it's a new audience that has no expectations in having worked with you before.
But just like I mentioned before, how can you dictate that level of price is by what it is that you provide. Is it that higher level of communication
Yep.
that this other person doesn't? Or is it better quality photo? Yes, there's a standard maybe price point. But did you look at the listing I sent you in that chat
Yeah.
of the flip we did?
Yeah.
I'm so mad that we didn't get to use you on that
Yeah.
shoot because Valerie was gonna pay or
Yeah.
the agent was gonna pay for it, and I saw those photos. I'm like, these aren't no Aaron Money photos, man. These look like I could have done a better job
Oh
than
no.
what that with
I
my
didn't expect it
iPhone.
to be way out there either.
Well, I mean the deal was great, so
Yeah,
it was like
sure.
really hard to bought a house for 155,000, put 40K into it, and now we're selling for 360. Pretty decent margin.
Yeah,
on
That's
top.
all right. I
But
can-
that being
Pretty good
said,
margin, yeah.
that's why we're willing to deal with the distance. But that being said, the photos don't do the house justice.
Well,
and
and if you're offering a higher quality level of work, you can dictate a higher price, right?
Mhm.
And-
So
How much is
and
your
I'm
time
pretty
worth?
confident that that photographer charges more than what you charge because it's in a certain different area. Charlottesville tends to be like our home
that's a good
stager
point.
is from Richmond.
Yeah.
Because everyone in Charlottesville was like $200 to $300 more. So we had a cheaper price for someone willing to drive an hour to take all this furniture to this house. They were cheaper, but Charlottesville tends to be more that posh.
Yeah. Well, and also it's a
bougie.
smaller market.
Bougie.
There's a smaller market. There's
Right.
fewer people doing it, right? So the demand and supply is different, right? But I mean, to your point, if you want to increase your prices, I would first think, hey, how is my value prop going to change? Meaning, do I offer something of more value now, which means I should be charging more? And if that's the case, add that into your pitch, right?
And
So
given
when we add it into our websites that will come out and take high quality photos, right?
Here's-
We then increased our price.
Here's the issue that you find in a lot of creative fields. creative fields tend to be about skill,
Mhm.
and there is some gear involved, absolutely, but creative fields tend to be about skill, and your skills sharpen gradually.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's I think it's difficult to like get your head out of the sand for a second and make a business decision.
Yeah.
Because you like as most creative people are pretty obsessed about stuff. I've found that anyway. And they're obsessed about their craft, and they're really just interested in doing the thing more than they're interested in making the sale or even making money sometimes.
Yeah.
I hate it. I wish that money was just not a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe one day in the multiverse. it
Maybe
won't
one
be,
day when we go to a communist utopia,
Yeah.
and we can all
That's what Star Trek is that everyone does know.
Egalitarian
Yeah.
society. Right?
Yeah,
Egalitarian,
yeah.
No.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like so I guess it's difficult for creative people to get their head out of the sand and realize that the product has improved, and how do you put a dollar amount on that? Like where's the financial benefit? I guess that's just a tough question.
I have the same problem too as well with our industries, because you have like the difficulty of the company. How many computers do they have? The difficulty of the client you're dealing with, and of course the unknown factor. It's like you might step in, there might be a huge vulnerability you might have to fix. So it's like there's actually formulas for that I can utilize.
Pricing strategies.
Pricing strategies and stuff that I can utilize, and I've
Yep.
actually utilized a couple of those. But at the end of the day, it's what's my time worth?
Mhm.
And that's obviously it's the hardest question to
I
answer.
know. Well, that's part of the problem. I have gotten so efficient with some things that I can do them in my sleep, and like it used to take me like 3 hours to do a full package for a house. I am in and out in an hour for full package, and like that's difficult. So then
Then when you add someone, they're not doing it in an hour. They're taking longer now, right? So you have to factor that into your price,
Yeah.
right? So it's because it's going to cost you more,
Yeah,
right?
so figuring out ways to optimize your time. So obviously for you figure out how to shorten from the 3-hour time frame to a 1-hour time frame, but you're still charging the same amount. So you just saved yourself. You can actually do another client in that time frame.
Yeah, so it's a volume-based business.
So there's that. So like when I was doing sales, doing the closing gift stuff with real estate agents, when I had to sponsor these team meetings and pay for lunch or pay for breakfast, for me that was the biggest cost standpoint of that was the food or coffee. And it was me trying to figure out ways, how can I minimize this? Because either the agents ate the food or they didn't because they're watching their weight. Or when I did bagels for breakfast, some people would literally take a bagel in half, break it in half, and eat like half a bagel because they're watching their carbs.
Yeah.
So I found out with Panera Bread, you buy, so there's going to be 20 agents. I'll do one bagel pack, and you can ask Panera to put it through their bread slicer. So it cuts these bagels into like slices of bread almost, and a lot goes a long way. So I'm only spending $15 versus having to do 2 bagel packs and thinking of a bagel for each. This is how narrowed down I went to save my money. And it worked effectively.
Yeah.
And realtors didn't question, why is these are sliced up and I want a whole bagel. If they want a whole bagel, they just do
take
more.
4 slices. There you
Beggars
go.
can't be
Yeah.
choosers. Free is free.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
or like coffee is like the most overpriced thing when you're buying in bulk. Like it's ridiculously overpriced. So I would never do coffee because usually most of these offices would have coffee. They have the Keurig. People already have coffee from
Is it
Starbucks.
orange juice or something?
I wouldn't
Yeah.
do drinks.
No drinks. Okay.
No drinks. There'd be no point because
Yeah.
I've realized like people say, "Oh yeah, bring coffee." No one ever. That pissed
Yeah.
me off so much when someone would not drink the overpriced
And then
Starbucks.
you'd have half a carafe left. That's like not.
what are you
Dude,
gonna do with
yeah,
it? Yeah.
you
Yeah.
throw it away.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I also didn't want to be wasteful. So I figured out my cost. I got that down. Cost, you know.
Cost and coffee.
Cost and coffee. So I got that cost down.
Yeah.
But-
we could have a whole podcast just
Right.
on that and
So-
on pricing strategies.
Yeah,
right, to your
but-
point.
if you want to increase pricing or figure out your price, I would always add at a bare minimum doing like at 10 to 25% increments upwards, obviously. That's essentially what we've done over time. When we first started doing websites, our website cost was like $1,500. And I remember when we first told you, like, damn, people pay $1,500 for a website? And
I
I'm
was
like,
doing like
yeah.
$200-300.
yeah. And now our
Mhm.
base cost for a website is $7,500, and it's not because it's of inflation, a little bit, but it's mostly because the quality of product quality.
Yeah, it's the we're biting off a bigger apple because we're
doing a lot more.
adding more value to the client
Yeah,
than we used to,
yeah.
right? So
More moving parts.
the bottom line with sales is it's in everything, right? And regardless of your opinion about it, it's important for any business decision. And
But
any business
at the end of the day, when it comes to getting the sale, it's the confidence that you have, whether it's real or fake. Fake it till you make it. Literally, when it comes to sales, is fake it till you make it. Even if you don't believe in the product and you have to put food
I would
on
argue
the table,
this though. I would argue this though. If you're in business for yourself and you don't believe in the product you're selling, then you shouldn't even be selling that product.
Right,
because like
but
you're
let's
not going to
say-
be passionate
But
enough
let's say
about
someone
building a
who's
business
not,
around
who's
it.
watching this, who's not in
If you're
business,
a salesperson,
and you're a salesperson,
sure.
not
yeah.
everyone
Yeah,
has to be.
no, it's a good point.
You
That's a
could
good
be
point.
an intrapreneur than an entrepreneur.
That's
or,
that's a
or you're a
fair
car
point.
salesman, and
Yep.
you're doing this because you know you can make a lot of money, but you gotta put food on the table.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, fake it till you make it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
that's what I would say when it comes to that. At the end of the day, just have the confidence. You could be saying the most ridiculous BS and like, oh, this product will cure cancer.
And I think maybe for the creatives out there, be willing. This is what I'm gathering from this. You have to know. You have to be able to quantify your value and explain it.
But see, on
Well,
top of that,
hold on a second. So say that one more time.
I think you have to quantify your value. Be able to quantify it, like get it in your head.
Yep.
In a way that you could speak it to someone else.
Yeah, okay. That's a fair point. I actually wouldn't even think about that, but you as a creative, like, that's how you're thinking about
Well,
it.
I mean,
That is-
you live with your head in the sand and you're just doing the
Yeah,
job.
yeah.
And if you're not
over time, it's gotten better, and you don't even realize it's gotten
yeah,
but see, here's the thing. At the end of the day, it still comes back to the confidence standpoint. Like, I could literally have the cure for cancer right here, like today, and people wouldn't believe me because it sounds so outlandish. But if you can have the confidence and the actually right way of marketing, it's like, yeah, this actually cures cancer, and there's a whole load of things that can show to prove that.
you'd have to charge $1
But-
million for people to believe you.
But see, that said,
yeah, peer
why
reviewed.
why
You
do
need peer reviewed
why does
papers.
infused oils and all this other shit sell for
Snake, was
healthcare?
it snake
Because
venom or whatever? it
snake
was.
oil.
Snake oil.
Snake oil.
Yeah.
Because that person, that snake oil salesman, had the confidence in saying this, blah blah blah.
That's true. That's true. And purely from a nihilistic perspective, where you don't really care about your own personal values,
Right.
and you have no ethics, if you're just selling snake oil, that would be the way to do it. Right?
Why does McDonald's still
But
sell a ton,
I would
even though
also
their product
question-
is not that great?
Yeah.
Is at the end of the day, McDonald's has great marketing.
Sure.
They have a shit product, great marketing.
Sure, but I would also say that if you don't have a fundamental belief in the product that you're selling, you also should question whether you should even be selling it. Right?
Does McDonald's
Because
have a
Sell something
fundamental?
else. If you're a salesman, sell
Well,
something
that's so
else.
large
maybe.
now.
Yeah, there you go. Right.
I know,
There you
but does McDonald's have the belief that their food is healthy for their client? Does McDonald's have an
No,
ethic?
because okay, fair point, right? And that's why some people don't work for McDonald's, right?
Yeah.
Because there's a fundamental belief that I don't believe in the way they do their practices,
But
so
some-
I don't
I-
need a
but
McDonald's.
some people just
and I
don't
would
care.
never sell McDonald's, right? And some people don't care. That's totally fine. Yeah. That's the point I'm making, right?
No
Is
one
that
has
you have
morals.
To, you have to
Everyone's,
check
you know,
into
effed
your
up in the
own
head.
your own core values, and if your core values
Very
align
nihilist.
and you accept it, then that's what it is, right?
Yeah.
All right, let's transition here
All
'cause
right.
we're a little over time.
So we're
gonna
starting
go to
Our new segment. We're going to start doing more of these, where it's our Shark Tank series, where we watch a Shark Tank pitch, give our thoughts on it, talk about the history of that product and what it's done afterwards. Was it a success? Was it a failure? It could have been a failure on Shark Tank, but it became a success afterwards. There's a lot of projects like that. So we're going to be talking about the Scrub Daddy. I don't
you
like the
grab-
name.
Yeah, can you grab
Yeah.
that? Yeah.
Scrub daddy.
So we actually have some
I
in-house
I
today.
bought some. We're not going to
Goodness.
review it yet. We're going to watch the pitch first. But essentially, it's a Scrub Daddy. It's a kitchen kitchen tool for you to use. So we're going to watch the full 12-minute, and I want to again just make sure we pause at some points and briefly interject just to avoid the BS copyright system with YouTube. All right, so if you guys see or hear
Sorry,
something
YouTube.
noticeable, just say it up, and we'll have Aaron pause it. So let's play the pitch.
First into the Shark Tank is Aaron Krause, who believes his product will make everyday cleaning easier.
So serious.
100% they grab those
Aaron
shots
Krause
from somewhere
from
else.
Philadelphia, and I'm known as the daddy of the Scrub Daddy, the cutest but most high-tech scrubbing tool in the world. Today, I'm seeking a $100,000 investment in exchange for 10% equity in the Scrub Daddy business. it's the greatest kitchen scrubbing tool you ever used. Because
Wait, so
Scrub Daddy
pause that real quick.
completely changes its texture.
So he said what? 10% for 100,000.
Yes.
Which means he's evaluating his business at $1 million worth of value.
Yep.
So go ahead, continue.
By just adjusting your water temperature. Let me show you how that works. Here I've got some hot water. Here I've got some cold water. When I immerse the Scrub Daddies in the hot and cold water, a complete transformation occurs. Now, to show you that, I've got 10-pound weights. Here, under the 10 pounds, it's soft and compressible, and that's like a sponge. That's for your general scrubbing applications. But here, check that out. It's hard and firm. That's gonna be for heavy-duty scrubbing applications. We burned on brown and gravy, tomato sauce, cheese, and mustard onto a glass stovetop and a stainless steel pan. I'm gonna take the Scrub Daddy, and you're gonna see it's just gonna attack right into that burned-on mess, scrubbing it right off.
This is an
And remember,
infomercial.
I'm just using water here. There's no chemicals at all, and it's gonna cut right through that. It won't scratch any of your surfaces, but it will clean them beautifully. Now, Scrub Daddy's not really smiling anymore, so I'm gonna put him here in the warm water, and in just a couple seconds, voila. He's back to bright, fresh, and clean every time. Sharks, that's not just another smiling face. You put it on your hand. You can get to the bottom and clean the sides in one move. And that smiling mouth, that cleans spoons, knives, forks,
didn't realize that.
spatulas.
There you
even
go.
large
I didn't realize
spoons
that.
That was the use
both
for that.
sides at the same time. Sharks, with your help, Scrub Daddy will be scrubbing and smiling in every kitchen in the world.
Woo!
Wow.
Scrub Daddy.
I never witnessed a live infomercial.
That was fantastic.
That was incredible. Do you have samples?
I do.
I don't agree with
Can
the
you
name.
pause it real quick? Can you pause
Why
it
are
real
you
quick?
selling this now?
All right, so
I'm
for what I really loved here was his energy, right? His enthusiasm, because that like really just immediately was pervasive in the room, right?
Yep.
Everyone responded positively to his energy and excitement.
Confidence. And when you're a infomercial salesperson, you have to have that confidence.
Yeah.
What was that guy? That main guy? Bobby?
ShamWow.
Billy
no,
Mays.
no, Billy Mays.
Billy Mays.
Yeah.
Billy
Mays
Mays. OxyClean. All right, let's go.
That's it.
What's your cost?
The cost to make one's about $1.
What are you selling them for?
$1.
$2.80.
Seems a little high.
Wholesale. This needs to be in every supermarket, drugstore, Walgreens,
It's so
CVS.
expensive. Mrs. Slavinsky goes to the store and picks this off the shelf and says, hey, it's a piece of foam with a smiley face on it. It costs 2 cents to make in China. That's what she's thinking. Because a Brillo pad, which is traditional
literally what I just
product,
thought.
is
I was like,
what?
that's expensive.
20%
You're
of the
comparing it
price?
to the lowest end of the lowest end. You take it up to the highest end. Talk about the ones like Dobie pads or other pads out there that are, brand
Scrub
names.
Daddy, I think you've done a great job today, but I don't know if it's going to work in retail. I don't buy into that vision. Just in the packaging, I just don't know if I see the
Robert,
difference.
it doesn't sell on a shelf, correct. But if you put it in display shippers, which we built, these beautiful cardboard display shippers, and it communicates the message to
You're
every
talking
one of the
end
customers.
caps. You're going to have to pay for those things.
They're not that
It's hard
expensive.
to get them, even if you pay for them.
Great job today, but I don't see the retail vision. I'm out.
So much hate.
I understand.
Real quick, too.
Can you
I
pause
like
it
the
real quick?
product. I think you've
So just keep in mind, a lot of people don't realize these Shark Tank pitches are actually about anywhere from 60 to 90 minutes long, and they're edited down
Very true.
quite
You're
a
not
bit.
seeing it. It feels a little bit like it immediately went to turn to Negtown, but it might have taken.
And these
20 minutes to
editors
get-
edit in a way to where like an
Yeah.
expression may have actually not
Oh,
been
yeah.
actually happened, like where Kevin O'Leary gives like, you're dead to me, but his response could have been totally different, and it's just
Yeah,
they make
editors are pulling from different times, and the more you edit video, the more you can spot it.
yeah, and
angry.
they and Jesus, just play the video. I lost my train of thought.
You're doing great things. You're doing it the exact right way. But when I hear QVC, no disrespect to Lori, when a company's sales are completely dependent on QVC, that's a disaster waiting to happen.
I've got 3,000 stores lined up right now.
She didn't like that.
We're going to be in 3,000 stores.
I understand, but even, okay, put aside QVC, you're still a one-product company, right?
Not for long. We've got Scrub Mommy, we've got Scrub Baby for doing baby bottles. I've got a holder that sits it on your sink and it's got drains in the legs. You don't understand who you're dealing with. I am.
You don't understand who you're dealing
love
with.
it.
Yeah,
Scrub
that
market.
confidence.
I'm not doubting you are the Scrub Daddy, but I'm not a Scrub Pimp. So
That hurts, Mark.
That
Scrub pimp.
Mark, QVC does over $8 billion in sales a year, and I've done over $500 million myself.
Yes, you have, and you rotate products in and out of there, and once those products are out, they're out.
How about this deal?
The money was still made, so.
$100,000 for 50%.
Whew.
Oh man.
Wow.
So that means his business is only worth 200K.
Yeah, he's.
I would tell you
That's
to
like
F.
a
I would
hostile
tell you to
takeover
F off.
right there.
All right, you're out.
You're out. I love
Wow.
You know, I'm somebody who can paint.
You're dead to
making
me.
sure that
Oh, man.
Lori is a vicious, backstabbing shark.
That's all true.
But sometimes I love her as well because she is the QVC queen. So I'm offering $50,000 for 15% if you can raise the rest from Lori and if she wants to do business with me.
Well, here's the thing.
And commercial.
Commercial break. It should.
Cliffhanger.
All right.
Can't wait till next week.
All right.
Sponsored by Lux Metal Card. Get your cards here. Lux Metal
Tune
Card.
into our next
So I'm
episode.
offering $50,000 for 15% if you can raise the rest from Lori and if she wants to do business with me.
Well, here's the thing. You've heard me say before, I can tell instantly if it's a hero or a zero.
Ooh.
And I think what you've got here
He's a
is
hero.
a hero. No offense, Demon. I don't need you.
You don't.
My offer is $100,000 for 30%.
Oh. Oof.
I will get you into infomercial right away, and I'm pretty confident that we could get this into all retail stores across the country within literally weeks.
That's a
Tell you
big
what I'll
chunk
do
to
for
give
you.
away.
I'll give you $100,000. We'll never agree on what percentage I should get. I'm going to change the model completely. You're going to keep the whole company.
In perpetuity.
Always.
But I want to be your
Royalties.
financier. I want you to give me 50 cents on every unit sold until I get the 100K back. Then it drops to 10 cents in perpetuity.
He just wants to increase
It's
your
not
cost of
that
goods
bad
sold
of
by
a deal.
50%. Nothing, right?
Why give up 30% of your company?
Just to sweeten the pot a little bit, I'm going to give you $150,000.
A little bidding war.
25%.
Now the sharks are competing with each other.
What are you going to do?
I'm changing my offer, actually. $100,000, but for 25%. The experience, the connections, everything that I have, it will be successful. I am partnered with the best of them.
Why give up any part of Scrub Daddy?
See, I like
Think
how
of the
they're selling
relationship
themselves,
you
too.
have with this sponge.
This is what I have to
You're
offer.
selling
Oh,
this
yeah.
thing out, and it's going to cry. It won't be happy anymore.
Yeah, the
Commercial
power
and
dynamics
into
changed.
Oh, yeah.
Can we
It's
pause it real quick?
Yeah, pause that.
So at this point, right, it was initially they were talking down to him, right? I mean, quite literally, they were like,
Whatever,
I'm not a scrub pimp, right?
So they really wanted it.
But then now it's flipped,
There's
right?
what, 3 sharks involved in the
Yeah,
bidding war.
Yeah,
Yep.
totally. That's great.
It's
Yep.
when
That's
one shows
interesting.
when one shows interest, it's like, okay, this person. I mean, obviously, all these people make money.
Yep.
But when she sees the value in it, like, oh, okay, now I want to give you some money.
And that's why it makes sense that he was patient, right? That was
Mm-hmm.
really important. If he just took the first thing that was offered him because he was like lacked confidence in what he was offering, or just said yes immediately, right, to get something, he would not be getting what he's getting right now. And that makes millions of dollars in decision making right
Definitely.
here.
Right.
Right?
Wide. That's the power of what we can do just by one infomercial spot. I can get you there.
He
Wait,
knows that
I'm not
already.
done. I'm
We've
not
heard
done.
that already.
We've heard that already. What,
I want the answer to one question, all right? Do you think 25% of the equity in your company is worth more or less than 10 cents a unit in perpetuity?
And he's
This
all
is-
talk. Where's he going to take you?
It doesn't matter.
It does matter.
Because you can
Connections
take
are
you
everything.
keep 25% of this business, which may sell 10 million of these, and you keep it all for yourself.
But you're going to be keeping nothing because he doesn't know how to get
You
this
mean
out
you
there
haven't had
fast
any
and market
success?
it correctly.
You're an idiot. You don't know what to do.
I know what to do.
Exactly.
just did a half
So,
a
pause real
billion
quick.
dollar deal with Walmart.
When he says he knows what to do, he's actually, I read the history on this guy. So he was in the auto detailing business, and he developed a line of polishing pads that he sold to 3M.
Wow.
In the same time when he invented that, he invented this sponge. It didn't have the smiley face, but this material he invented. 3M did not take this part of the deal. So he had all these sponges in his warehouse just sitting there. So 3M did not buy the entirety of his company. They just bought that line of polishing pads, but didn't buy his sponge. Then he came up with this idea and now has this. So when he says, I know what I'm doing, he knows what he's doing. He worked with 3M, which is a multi-billion-dollar corporation that makes all kinds of stuff. So and he was telling, Mark to
that was
F off.
real savvy of Kevin to frame it that way, right? Is Kevin Mr. Wonderful, right?
Mr. Wonderful,
name, right? Yeah. So it was savvy of him to frame it that way. It's like, oh, she's talking down to you, right? So that's interesting. Go ahead.
$500 million.
But that doesn't mean anything. What product is it?
Okay, I'd like to
Wait
review
a second.
the
Let the
offers. They keep
sponge
changing.
speak. And it's saying,
Lori.
go with Kevin.
Aaron, they're like children up here. It's awful. Let's recap.
Yeah,
let's
with
recap,
Kevin.
please.
$150,000 for 25%.
Okay.
From Damon. Kevin.
$100,000 for no percent and a tiny tithe of 10 cents. You keep all the equity.
Lori is offering you $100,000 for 25%.
I offered 150 last time.
Whoa, hang on.
I didn't hear
You
that.
said 100, Lori.
Oh, well, I changed my mind. 150,000 for 25%. I'll make you a millionaire within a year.
So mine just went to 175.
Whoa! He's up to 175?
Yeah.
Mine just went to 2.
Woo! Look at that, the smile. I was like, yeah, fuck you.
I just made you an extra 100,000. I'm out. I wanted to stick it to her.
Oh.
Ouch. Wow.
And 100K
I'll
to them
drop
is
the
is
50
nothing.
cents down to 25 cents until the 100K is recovered, and then go to 10 cents.
Will you go to 5 cents?
7.5, it's a deal.
Okay, Aaron, you've got 2 offers on the table. What are you going to do?
That way I would give up 25%.
You have to make up your mind right now.
I think he lowers
You
it.
don't see the benefit of having me as a partner.
I never said that.
You need to tell me right now whether you're going with me or not, or I'm out.
That's what they always do.
I'm here for
It's
you.
all part of the show.
I think your deal is awesome. The equity amount is too much. Would you consider coming down to 20?
She got in there.
You know what? I will.
Woo!
I'll go to 20.
We got a deal.
Got a deal.
Right.
All right, there it is.
Way to go, Aaron. Woo!
Congratulations.
Thanks, Lo. I'm so excited.
You're dead to me, and the sponge is dead.
Thanks, guys.
Your sponge is dead.
Scrub Daddy, you suck.
Angry.
So,
That is awesome. Got a deal?
all right. So this, the following day, it sold out on like QVC. I think it did like 3 million in sales, and then the first full year it did 100 million in sales.
Wow. Wow.
I think it's done a total of 209
And see, here's
million.
the thing, right? He gave up 20%, right?
What is
But 20% of a much larger number than maybe he would have gotten with Kevin. That's a fair question to consider, right? Is that with Kevin, he would have been keeping that? You have a larger percentage, a bigger percentage of a pie that's smaller than maybe with her distribution got him a much larger pie. So sometimes people view things in zero-sum games, right? Where it's like, oh, you only have this much available out there. Clearly it proves that, hey, there was a ton of business out there. So while he has a smaller share of a pie, it's a much bigger pie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
I mean,
But would he have gotten that success with Kevin?
That's
what I mean, right?
Yeah.
If he might not have gotten that volume with Kevin.
I don't think he would have.
Yeah.
No, I like Kevin a lot. Actually, Kevin's my favorite shark out of all of them. But it just depends on the business that they're in.
Yeah.
Lori is in the retail business. That is where she lives and
Bread and
breathes.
butter. Yep.
And she's like he said, the QVC queen. So, and you can find these at Kroger.
Do we get affiliate credit for pitching?
Probably not.
Yes.
But see, when he first said his cost was $1, that was very high. But again, at the quantity he was buying, that might
It's
make
probably
sense.
gone down a lot.
Yeah.
Yep.
This to me, at the volume he's doing, he's probably paying. This has to be at least 50. The packaging for this is actually, I would say, is worth more, costs more to produce this than it does this. Just someone who's been in packaging as far as in that field when it comes to ordering from China.
Yep.
I think this is kind of lame packaging. I think this could be done better, but it is simplified. This is made for retail. This is literally designed for an end
Yeah,
cap.
you can see. I mean, look at the value prop on the back there. That's awesome. That's really done in a great way. I mean, it's like boom, boom, boom. This is
yeah. And there's
this
not
versatile smile with the spoon.
It's not drowning in text. For the love of God, people, stop drowning everything you put out in text.
Yeah, it's simple, right? It's
Yeah.
very simple. I'll say this: I didn't know all of these value propositions about it.
I just gave it to you.
Yeah, I didn't know the benefits, so I just took it home, and it got soft in the warm water, and that's what I do. Is I use hot water with cleaning the
dishes,
pots.
yep.
But at the same
Oh,
time, if I had known that cold water would activate it to be hard,
I stand corrected. It is made in Vietnam.
Interesting. If I had known that cold water would make it hard again, I would have done that because it would have cleaned off some of the I had rice stuck on rice from the bottom of the pan, and so the problem I experienced was it was too soft in that moment, right? And it was it's not really doing. But I'll say this: these little ridges were pretty awesome because they went along the edge of the pan, right? Like the lip of the pan, so you can take these little hair ridges and go along the lip. That was pretty cool. I didn't even realize the spoon thing.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
That's pretty interesting too. So I'm sold on it. I think it's worth it.
What's even crazier that none of them asked, and they probably did, they just took it out of the show, is that he does have a patent. He has 2 patents on this, and a Canadian one pending.
Cut for time.
So
it's not interesting.
Yeah.
Well, when you have a patent on this as well, holy shit.
Yeah, that is value.
That's 15 years of zero competition. When it comes to that.
So knowing what you know now, would you still choose a Scotch-Brite Brillo pad or whatever over this?
We'll find out. We'll find
You're
out.
gonna test it out?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I do dishes. I do all the dishes at my house. So
yeah.
It's made in Vietnam with
for almost 3 kids.
Yeah.
And
dishes every day.
Made in
Not twice a day.
Vietnam with exclusive USA. So they send U.S. materials over to Vietnam for them to make, because obviously it's cheaper to make in Vietnam.
Well, are we gonna vote on this?
Are we doing the whole?
Are we voting?
This is Julius Caesar.
Oh, on his presentation. We're voting on his presentation and the product.
Are there things you think you could have done better though in that presentation?
I think that at the beginning,
he had a lot of nerves.
Yeah, he did, right? And even when Lori presented what she presented, he was pretty dang nervous, right? But I mean, this is a life-changing amount of money, right? And a life-changing opportunity, so you can't fault him for being nervous in that moment.
Yeah.
But his enthusiasm showed through. So if you're excited, doesn't matter if you're nervous, right? Because you can actually create confidence just from your enthusiasm. And that's what he did, I think. So I would say on the pitch, I would rank it a thumbs up.
Yeah, it was a solid pitch, even though we didn't get to see the whole 90-minute version of it.
Yep.
Yeah.
It is definitely a solid pitch. I do give him that.
Yeah.
And like I said, I've never seen a live.
It's a better
thing from-
mousetrap.
Yeah.
What's the cost of this? There's 3 sponges that come
So
with it, right?
out of 3,
$9.
well, when I bought it, it was a 3-pack, and it was $27 for all 3. So 3 of these. So you're probably looking about $10 for that whole thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so $10 for one of these, and it comes with 3 sponges. One of those the Brillo things, they come with 3 packs, right? I wonder what
So
that
if
is.
his cost is let's say, obviously his cost is lower than $1 now probably, but if his cost was $1, assuming that's $3 for the materials plus probably, I would say another $1 for the box and shipping.
I'll call it worth it if it outlasts the Brillo pad or the.
Fair point. So this has right here for a 3-pack of the non-scratch Scotch-Brite, right? Which is what you're describing, I think, right?
Yeah.
It's $7.48.
Oh, then yeah, I call it worth it for sure.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty much what, at $2 more, or $2.50 more.
Okay, that's fun.
That was fun.
Yeah.
So I'm just doing some math here.
Down the rabbit hole he goes. Hi, Ryan.
If it's at volume that he's getting, he's getting these at 50 cents. Minus the packaging, and then of course he's definitely doing FCL, so full container load. So it's all stuff is being shipped out in a container. It is all just his product. I would say, what you said, what was this cost? Or I mean
said it was $1.
No, not that. Sorry, $7 or what?
Oh well, that's what Scotch Brite
Retail?
charges. $7.48.
What is one of these?
Oh,
cost?
one of these. I don't know. I have to look.
It
that
was
up.
$9 when we divided it but you ordered in somewhat of a bulk, so I don't know. That's not really bulk. That's just like. All right, well they're $3.79 per scrubby.
$3.79.
$3.79 per scrubby if you buy them per scrubby.
Oh, this is a little more here. So I'm seeing $14.99 on
That's
Amazon
different.
for the
That's
3
different.
count.
That's dual-sided. That's
Oh,
what
this
I
is
want.
Scrub Mommy.
Yeah, Scrub Mommy is
Yeah.
what I want.
I
Because
want
that
Scrub.
has the soft
Interesting.
side, so you can get that mac and cheese off the pot.
Where's Scrub?
Daddy.
Where's Scrub Pimp? I want that
3
one.
pack.
Scrub Pimp.
Here we go. Scrub Daddy 3 pack. Walmart $9.98, so $10.
So is there a Scrub Creepy Uncle?
Oh god.
Here, it's right here. There you go.
There he is.
Oh.
There he is. We found him.
Yeah,
All right.
So their cost minus is probably about $2.50, give or take, for this, which leaves them, anywhere from $7 or so in profit. Then you have wholesale, and wholesale is probably making anywhere from 30 to 40% margin. So
Yeah.
obviously when you
I mean,
buy
it's
direct
great-
from them,
great business
it's
model.
decent sized margins on that standpoint.
Yep.
Independent lab verified. What does that mean? What's this? It's not.
Well, I think on the whole it's a winner. Right?
Yeah.
It's a winner.
Here's the thumbs up. The whole Julius Caesar thumbs up. Death.
Which actually,
the creepy
in
uncle
the
picture.
movie Gladiator, this is what they did, right? This for
Right.
death, right? But actually it was this for death in ancient Rome.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like kill, kill, kill.
Oh,
right?
yeah, because that was the
Yeah.
positive thing.
Yeah, so like
here we are in 2020 thinking that's a bad thing. But
Yeah, yeah.
I guess we had it backwards.
Yes, entertainment must die.
Kill,
Well,
kill.
no, they probably had it in the movie so the average person would know and understand.
Yeah, well,
yeah.
it's through our frame of mind, right?
Yeah, yeah.
All right.
So,
We have a meme to wrap up the show. I
that's a
like
great,
this one.
Great face to land on.
So, doctor, what brings you here today? Me, my car. Haha. Doctor, writing a chart, not sexually active. What? Very accurate. All right. Thanks for tuning in today. Until next time,
That-
the Think Fresh, Move Forward
Yeah.
podcast.
Be sure to like and hit that subscribe button for the
That's
YouTube.
right.
No, you gotta
Smash that-
smash that button.
Smash that
for the
button.
YouTube. And we'll see everyone next week.